One of the most motivating things I've ever heard is pretend to live your life like a documentary crew is following you around. Every move you make, think about them. Think about like your kids watching that later. Think about yourself watching that later. It was given by Joe Rogan. I heard about it like 4 years ago and I tried to apply it and I didn't make it. I kind of fucked up my life. It's not all my fault, but I'm in a situation where I dislike what's happening heavily and I want to fight against it and I keep failing. I keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. Last year, I started a documentary to explain how I was a dopamine addict and I needed to break away from it. So I was trying to go off of dopamine intense activities like, porn, YouTube, even maybe listening to music for like an entire week. And I was trying to film it. And a week is nothing when you think about it. It's like I could have entirely done that, you'd think. But I failed after like the second day because of how sad I was. It was supposed to be a dopamine fasting documentary, but it turned into a 4 hour depression documentary that I kept going after the one initial week. And now I just kind of feel like I want to keep the camera rolling. And it's so funny because, I was thinking about this in the shower and then you get out of the shower, you turn the camera on, and it doesn't sound like a typical YouTube intro, whatever. People are gonna click off, and it hurts. It hurts to feel that lack of self confidence all of a sudden. It hurts to feel that that's the resistance that's been kind of hurting me my whole life and kind of getting me there also, is to just like stop believing. Friday on the tramway, I saw the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life. And now everybody looks ugly. And I'm mad at myself for not having gone up to her and said something. She was literally like sat besides a guy and then we're talking. So they could have been together or something. And then accidentally, I guess, we got off at the same stop and she was walking in front of me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to catch up and say something. She looks young. She looked like 17, 18, so I didn't want to come off as a creep. I'm 22. It's just funny because, no one wants to come off as a creep. Everybody thinks they're not a creep. It's just about what you come off as. But there must be creeps out there, right? Someone's mistaken. I genuinely, I didn't want to hit on her. I just, like, couldn't prevent myself from seeing such an attractive person as an opportunity to do something. So I was like, shit, next music video I make or something, whatever, shitty song it's gonna be, someone like that can carry the whole thing. And I didn't do it. And I talked about it with people, and number of guys were like, "Wow, I get it. Like it's hard as shit going up to people, especially on the street, and asking for their contact or something." I could have just given her my contact and said, "Hey, if you're ever interested, just shoot me a DM and we'll do next music video together or something." But the girl said that it was probably good that I didn't go up to that girl because women don't like that. It can be intimidating, and it would have ruined my day if she like rejected me with strength. And I just feel like a lot of people are pussies when it comes to social interaction, and I don't know if it's always been like that. Is it really that hard to approach people on the street? Because I don't think I've ever done it my entire life, but in my head, like, the concept of it was not unreachable. It was something like people could do. And through watching American culture, I guess it was just like strangers don't seem that far away. And in my experience from just life, outside of friends, also like outside of purely French people, let's say, it's super easy to make a meaningful connection with people sometimes. Like, you know, people who approached me to ask information about like how to get into a concert, invited me to stay at their house like a couple hours later, and then I crossed Europe and I did it. Yeah, I stayed in Lithuania for a week, and we had a great time, and like, and I'm able to connect with people super quick like that. And I was watching this guy who asked out 100 girls yesterday. It's a great video. A guy's name's Sam, and one of, several of the girls just said, yeah, I would go on a date with you because you approached me, and I thought that was, I thought you were open minded and cool and whatever, and I was just like, what's the worst that can actually happen? And the girl, I don't care about the girl. Like, I care a lot about the girl. I'm mortified, and everybody is ugly now. But it's not about that. It's never been about that, and it's never been about any of the specific things I've gone through. It's just a system of like being scared of ghosts and thinking things are hard that aren't. So like making this video, it's not hard, I was cringing 2 minutes, 3 minutes into it or something or less. I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna do it because there's no because that's me. I feel like I'm progressively like kind of sinking into me. I despise my life, but I have no strong emotional response to that fact these days. I don't feel depression. I I think I'm coming out of a depressive phase that lasted, oh, dude, lasted way too long, like maybe 6 months, and that's crushing. And it was not fun at all. Um, and I wanna challenge a lot of ideas that other people have about my way of life that could get in my way if I let it matter. Like, you can't speak about personal things because XYZ, or, ideas that I've developed myself of like, you can't say XYZ, you can't be true to yourself. You can't tell your story because then you'll be canceled or something like that. Because everybody's got a best thing and a worst thing, and I'm just about kind of, in real life, I'm about letting it all hang out, and I take my time with it sometimes, but it's important for me to be truthful, and I don't want to distort that for the internet at all, no matter what the current meta is. And that's the thing, like, I'm not comfortable with any of it. Like, I'm not saying like, wow, I'm better than you guys, and I get to decide that it should be socially accepted that, anyone should be able to approach people and women on the street, and you're all pussies for not doing it, and you're all pussies for not talking truthfully about yourself online. That's not it at all. Um, I'm scared to do it, but I want to do it because that Joe Rogan idea of the documentary, it's motivating, but it's just a fucking thought. And if you actually do it, like if I actually film my life, that is genuine leverage to change, because otherwise I'm gonna show you my disgusting room for months on end, and that's boring for me, for you, and it's embarrassing for me. So what do we have? What are we going off of? We have talent. We have a shit ton of undeniable talent, and might be the biggest thing. we have a little bit of pride in that talent, otherwise we wouldn't say that. We have like 3,000 euro, a lot of injuries, many traumas. We lack a lot of social interaction, exercise, better sleep schedule. We have several addictions. We just have we're just really going, starting off on the wrong foot here. Um, and that's exciting because it'd be so fucking boring if I had all the right, all the right cards in my hand and I could just, here you go. I'm rich and I'm still young and I'm handsome and I'm this and I'm that and I can get any girl I want and I don't have to work on myself and I don't even have to create art anymore because it's already fulfilled, because I already have 200 songs out there and it's the best songs I've ever written, and anything else I'll try to do would just be a downgrade that would make me sound like the bands I don't like. And it's just insane to me, and I'm projecting when I say that. It's just insane to me that people don't do things like this. Um, and what that must mean is it's insane to me that I don't do things like this, because I used to want to do this really badly, just be able to be open, and then, you know, priorities and depression made it so I was ashamed to be myself. And also, all work was fictional work. I stayed in my addictions, but I thought every time I was planning something, it couldn't be a YouTube video because I was like, bro, I have better things to do. And that was true, but I never did anything anyway. And I have tons of anger. I'm intensely frustrated. I break down from time to time. Um, I cry over small things. I forget what I do the previous day if I don't write it down. Pretty much. I have complicated, naughty relationships with a lot of people close to me because of that shame I was talking about earlier that drove me to not speak up about certain things. And so you don't have that kind of healthy revaluation of all relationships as they evolve. I get stuck in time, and then I'm taken even less seriously, and I take them less seriously because who the fuck are you to deny me? Um, Things like that can only be resolved with open-minded, loving conversation that I lack and the entire fucking world lacks. And it breaks my heart to see how unable I am to fix other people. And that's also a way to put my head in the sand about my own problems. Like, something I've always thought I could do was like save people, and it's caused me immense hurt and delusion. I can't save anyone at all. People can only ever save themselves. Obviously, but you don't really know that when you're a kid. But yeah, I don't like just what the youth is doing in general. I don't like fucking TikTok and Tinder, and even YouTube is just like how many videos you watch on YouTube that are actually like a good thing for you to watch, like a good use of your time, maybe 10-20%, and the rest is just like fucking, it's just so, it's chatter, it's shitty, it's bullshit, information no one needs. It's just the same message packaged a different way all the time, and Reddit and whatever, and echo chambers, and the media that's like just trying to make a quick buck out of the whole thing, and boomers hating millennials and Gen Z hating boomers, and like no one realizing at all we're all in the same boat together anymore, and just, you know, and we're all getting fucked by a bunch of billionaires, and no one cares. And I think I just spent like way too long online. Um, Way too long because there's a ton of things in the real world. You know, I don't even okay. I'm eating with this girl tomorrow at noon. She's in an association like that. She volunteers to help kids with school and things like that, and she's into Gen Z culture. She's into TikTok and BTS and shit and whatever. Like these are not mutually exclusive. We can absolutely like do good stuff and still have our little shitty Markiplier memes culture. But no one knows. Like when you don't go out of your room, you refuse to know anymore. You just not you're just not gonna see it, and I think we're just all wasting our lives. Like I definitely wasted a good bit of mine. I want to work out how many hours I've spent online, but I've spent like, a couple thousand hours on Minecraft, maybe 1,000 hours on StarCraft, probably like 5,000, 10,000 hours on YouTube. Who the fuck knows? A couple thousand hours on Netflix. Just 1,000 here and there. 1,000 hours on Reddit, maybe more. Who the fuck knows? And 1,000 hours on porn, probably less than that. Who am I kidding? But I've been watching porn for like over 8 years now, and I don't know how long into it I knew that I was addicted, but I was trying to stop. I've been trying to stop for sure for over 6 years and a half, and I haven't been able to do it. And I'm scared. I'm terrified shitless. Because that's terrifying, enough as it is to just know that, oh yeah, I've had an addiction for 6 years and a half to something like it's not the way I grew up thinking about addiction. It's not heroin, it's not cocaine, it's not opioids or whatever. I don't know how to say that. It's not physical drugs. It's just something that's on every connected device in the world, and now there's more devices and there's people. It looks like, and it's just absolutely fucking crazy that it's been happening for 6.5 years. Where I was like, oh, all right, I'm gonna stop. I have to stop. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I relapsed like every single fucking time. Every single time. Yesterday I relapsed, you know? And so that's terrifying in terms of like, oh yeah, it's been 6 years and a half. It's terrifying because, Jesus Christ, that can't be my life. Can't be me. What? Me? I'm addicted? It takes like 6 years to settle in when you're an addict. You're like, no, that's the other people. The other people are addicted. Me, I'm different. Nope. Just one of them. And it's also scary, like, because it's super scary to talk about. I would rather be like a physical junkie, I think. I'd rather be addicted to heroin, which is a crazy thing to say. Heroin is just one of these words. I can't fucking say it. It's like clothes or synths. Yeah, I'm okay. But heroin. My French ass just can't. I'm not even gonna try. Heroin. I'd rather be addicted to that because you. I imagine of course there's shame, of course there's anger if you tell your parents that or whatever, if you tell people around you that, but they get it. They get it instantly. They're like, "Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so you did the drug that is like the most addictive ever. You did it once and now you were hooked and shit, that sucks. We're going to try to help you out of there and whatever. But how could you do this and whatever?" But if you say, "Hey, I'm addicted to porn," they don't even fucking believe you. Some people, you know. I don't know. I haven't tried enough close-minded people to know. I've told a few close friends who've been super supportive and who know about it because they're young. And this is a generational problem, but like, um, I haven't told my parents at all. There's a number of things that um, I need to tell them, and I don't necessarily like. Porn is not necessarily one of them. Shit, you see me do that? It's gross. Great, let's keep it in. It just feels gross to say, and I don't want them to be grossed out by me. Jesus Christ. That'd be crushing if they thought I was disgusting. Um, and so it feels impossible to open up, and it changes so much about your hormones, your motivation in general, how you interact with other websites. Like after I watch porn, I typically watch YouTube for like hours or something like that, because you just fucking crash and you can't do anything. It's not like regular masturbation or sex where you're gonna just kind of reset, but then you're good to go again. It's like a different kind of feeling, and you feel wrong in your gut and your stomach and whatever. And it's just, ugh. And it's not even about, although that is also part of it. It's not about what kind of porn you watch. Not about the images. Not about if it's violent, if it's gross. Like, I don't think that's why I get a a sinking, disgusting feeling in my gut. It's just something deeper about not being supposed to do that or something like that. I don't think it was there at the very beginning, but it's wild, It's something that's really fucking crazy. When I watched porn for the first time, it was 11 p.m. and whatever. I came and stuff, and bruh. I think, yeah, I had like a French class the next day, and it was like in the morning or in the afternoon. I don't remember. I think it was in the morning. I was still shaking in class the next day. I was just overthinking the fact that I said I came and shit, and you know, that's one of the things that's like, I do think people are pussies if they can't say that, and that's a fucked up thought for me to have because I was doubting it like myself. Like, so who am I to? But like, life is so unbelievably short, and I've had a number of experiences that have kind of gotten me away from fearing things so much. I've had a hypomanic episode. I have bipolar disorder, and basically, I was a god. I was a semi god for a couple of weeks. I was scared of nothing. I was unstoppable, and I ran the city in my head, and I could do anything. I used to be super withdrawn and anxious around people. I don't think that's my nature, honestly. I think it was the depression that had been there for years, only clearing out. a couple weeks at a time, rarely. So it kind of swallows you whole, and then you think that's what you are, and you can't break away from it. But anyways, I was like, I was hitting on people. I I was hitting on people with confidence, and I knew that I was good. Like I knew they were attracted to that, and it wasn't about like I don't fucking know. Now when I think of it, I don't know if they were into me. I don't know if that was hot. I don't know if it was right. I don't know anything at all. But while I was in it, it's not that I thought that it was working. It's that I knew so. You know, like you get so convinced. Um, it's really interesting. So then you kind of realize 99% of what you feel like doing and you're scared of doing it, if you just did it, there's nothing bad that's gonna happen to you. It's ghosts in your head. Because how many people are scared of going up to other people and talking to them? I do it all the time now. I force myself to do it. Yesterday, I forced myself yet again to go up to a dude and ask him to open my water bottle because my hands hurt. And he did it. And people do that all the time for me. And they don't mind at all. Nobody's ever said no. But they couldn't say no. Like, think of it. Like, they would never say no. Like, people will help you. Maybe it's annoyed a couple of people to open my water bottles for me. That's absolutely a possibility. Maybe they thought it was weird. That's for sure. Um, but it confirms like 99% of what you're scared of doing. You can just do it, and you will be fine. Maybe you annoy other people around you. And then what the fuck else happened? I thought like there were three things. I had a hypomanic episode and I wasn't scared of anything. Then I took LSD and figure out the meaning of the universe. Um, and then I don't know, a third thing happened, and I just wasn't scared anymore, and I knew that it'd be okay, and I did things like I asked a girl out, and I had never done that in my life because I was terrified previously, and I just knew that it'd be okay, and it was scary, and she didn't say yes, and that hurt a little for a little bit, and then now it's fine, and I don't think we should be too worried about trying to live so much. Like, I think you can get overwhelmed and actually ruin your life pretty quick if you start going like, "Holy shit, I have so many opportunities. Who am I to not like seize all of them in the best possible way because I live in the best possible time and I'm so lucky to be here on this rock and whatever, and I must be the greatest because I'm gonna die and life is so short, and oh my god, I wish I had more money. I wish I could I wish I could go back in time and do this and that because that was so great." No, shut the fuck up, just chill. Like, it's all right? um and me doing that is kind of me, or like having regrets about not going up to the girl on Friday. That's because I'm aware of that she was literally one in a million and I didn't approach her, and it's so great. Like, somebody like her, she can have anything she ever wants in life if if people see her the way I see her. um she can just go up to a billionaire and be like, "Give me $1 billion," and he'll do it, basically. And that's wild. That's wild stuff. It's really interesting. Yo, what the fuck? What's the third thing? Why am I so enlightened and bold? I have no idea, guys. I think, yeah, I think 30 minutes of intro is good. Hi Grace. The setting is perfect. There's tissues on my bed. These are tissues I used for my nose, by the way. But there's always this uncomfortable aspect about tissues, even if they were just used for your nose. Obviously, it's still gross, right? And it's something like you don't see in documentaries, you don't see in movies, you don't see in fiction and in representation, idealized representation of people, because those people, they don't use tissues, they don't shit, they don't piss, they don't come. Um, Ever thought about that? It's interesting, right? Like, I've seen a lot of sex scenes in movies and shit, I guess, and they never deal with the cum. They just kind of have sex, and like a lot of times they don't show the climax, or they do show the climax, but then it's like, yeah, I guess they use no protection. And it doesn't matter. It's romanticized. Holy shit! I'm not supposed to talk about that. Um, did I say hi, Grace? Oh my god, all my disorders are acting up, because today was a big day, big day. I had gone to sleep late because I was listening to stuff about UFOs, because it's fascinating. Um, Woke up, started gathering stuff I needed to go out. Went to the city. Um, I don't know if she's my. I don't know. I don't know how to say the girl I was supposed to eat with. Stood me up. Something came up in her life. I appreciated that she said that. That something came up and whatever. And so I was kind of stranded for a little bit, and so I had so much time to take care of my business, take care of myself, do things. I had uh hastily gone through ADHD tests with my mom that I needed to send to a neuroscientist. Um, and A neuropsychologist. Um, I had to find a place to take pictures of the things. So first I had to find a place to finish the things. So I went to this kind of restaurant. I said, "Hey, I want this," and they said, "Yeah, sure." And then they said, "No, but I work with this other place. You should get them from there, and then you can go back and eat there." So I did that. I completed the tests there. I started trying to take pictures, but I couldn't, so I went to the HQ of where I work to take the pictures. I didn't have the email address, so I phoned my mom. The card is here, so she could send it to me, and I had to add every one of the 12 pictures manually in the mail app from my phone, and just like send all that shit in. And then I went to KFC. I picked up an order, and I went to another HQ with people that would potentially be there. It was my day off, but I was like, hey, I'll go and socialize. And I arrive, and Jean is there, and the key won't open the door, and it's a whole mess. So we wait for other people to be there, blah 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 blah, and we start socializing. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave early because I have to go and pay for a fine because I didn't show my card when I was coming back from the neuropsychologist assessment on Saturday. Even though I had my tramway thing, I couldn't prove it. So it's a €10 fine, and I get on the tramway, and I'm late. So I can't do it now, but I'm gonna have to do it sometime in the week on my personal time instead. It would have been really convenient to do it now, but I didn't. And also previously I noticed that I had forgotten the soles of my other shoes, and I could have used that to go and buy shoes, because it would probably be better if I used the orthopedic soles that were made for my shoes in order to go to Pink Pop in the Netherlands this week, that I still haven't planned, and I should have definitely done it tonight, but tonight I just researched more stuff about UFOs. That's pretty much all I did for the past 4 hours. Then I met up with people, and urgent things needed happening, and then I was super late for my psychologist appointment, like 45 minutes late, so we were scheduled to tomorrow. So I didn't do anything today almost. Although I did some of the most important things I've been wanting to do for months. It's classified, can't talk about it. Um I didn't have lunch with the girl I was supposed to eat with, and I didn't go pay my fine, and I didn't go buy my shoes, and I didn't go to the psychologist, and I almost didn't send in the email to my brain guy, because I'm so disorganized. It's incredible, and I have to run everywhere with my bad knees and stuff like that. And all the while, like while all of it was happening, I was fine, like because I just you after 22 years of like being on this planet, 22 and a half years almost, Jesus Christ. um I guess technically like 23 years by now. um 23 plus years, you just gotta like admit that you are something, and it doesn't matter what you want to be. You're not what you want to be, you're just what you are. And it doesn't really matter that in this moment you're saying, oh my god, how could I do this, how could I be this person, this can't be my life, I wish I was this, I wish I was that, I wish I had bigger muscles, I wish I was smarter, I wish I wish I wish I was dumber. I would, like, stop. You're just what you are, and my life is like that. My life is like that. It's like, I understand that with depression now. It's like, I cannot ask of the young me to not have depression. I can't, like, the past doesn't even exist. There's no such thing as the past. It's just, why am I like trying to make it a real thing by trying to go back and fixing what is there to be fixed? Like, what are you doing, You regret the fact that you had depression? Like, no, I have a great deal of empathy for my younger self. I think my 16-year-old self was like super fucking impressive. I think he was, talented and smart um and beautiful for being able to go through what he was going through. And I would not ask him to do anything different, because it's not realistic. And that's the thing about depression. And so with ADD, it's the same thing. I can't really ask myself to like destroy what I've always been, and radically just change from one day to the other. Like, you will no longer chase dopamine, and your brain will just start working, because by sheer willpower you will now remember everything you're supposed to remember, even though you've spent all these years literally killing yourself over things you're not capable of remembering. Nah, that's all fake. Just get over it. Just get a planner, bro. Like, no, it's not how it works. I need baby steps. I need so much more than this. I need therapy and counseling, and slow, methodical movement and change in my life. And I need meds probably, and I need structure, and I need community help. and self-help and just I can't snap my fingers and make it all happen. I cannot. It's been years of trying to do it that way. It's just never gonna happen that way. And I think the meds are starting to work. As crazy as it sounds, I'm basically having like mental. My mind is just being absolutely fucked and expended at the same time. It's like ego deaths every second, sometimes today because of um, my growing like faith in UFOs and things like that. It's just it's like looking at a infinite well that's like always being right underneath you, and it's fucking terrifying, but it's also really thrilling to be like, oh wow, how cool is it that I never saw this thing. But so yeah, that's the UFO thing could make it look like I'm losing my shit, but I don't really hate myself anymore at all. I don't feel any depression. I think the meds are working, and it's so crazy because like you just completely forget that that's even a thing that can happen when you're in depression. You just like you live in this brand new reality to the point where I didn't sleep so great, so I actually felt a little depression this morning that I even forgot about. Like, it's fucking crazy. And right away when it came, I was like, I'm home. I'm home in this. Like, that's fine. Like, that's me. Depression, yes. Depression, we know. Depression, we've mastered, basically. I have I've spent a long time doing this stuff. I basically have a PhD in depression. Like, this stuff is not new. It's been out there, to quote the great Joe Byballs. And there's a sense of comfort in that. My nose really itches. So that concept of like, this is us, this is just me, it's okay, we're home, we're safe. It's something I've been applying to ADHD related things for a few days now, and it's so comforting, like just to be 30 minutes late because you got on the train and you lied to the people on the train. You said, oh, I didn't get time to get a ticket, but actually you forgot to get one. But it's so ridiculous to say that you won't bother, and you're right. And they say, okay, if you buy one now, it's fraud, so you can get off the train or buy one for $50 instead of $2. And so you're like, all right, thanks, I'll take the next train. I've been practicing just not getting upset at all at things like that, because external people are going to frustrate the fuck out of me enough. I'm going to pay enough taxes on my ADHD, and you're literally, you're giving away your health for this stuff. My body is in a lot worse shape than it would be if I didn't have ADHD. And I just I'm gonna die. I don't want to get mad at myself anymore. Like, it's I'm going to die. Life is gonna end. The amount of things that I can do is finite. I don't want any of those things to be like me getting stuck in endless loops of thoughts in which I belittle myself and find reasons to make things look like I'm weak, to make things look like I'm wrong, like I did the wrong things, like if I had done it different, my life would be better, or that I have done it a way that makes it impossible for it to ever be right, or to ever be good, sufficient, appropriate. Like, it's just a really bad use of a very valuable time. And everything is a spectrum Of course, you can't. That's why I'm saying I'm not gonna wake up one day and be good, be perfect, and make a good use of my time. But this is a concept that's been growing in my head for a long time. It's just like at some point, forming deeper connections with people online and realizing the extent of my addictions and realizing the lengths I would have to go to do music the way I want to, and that kind of hasn't changed. I'm not super willing to make concessions on music just yet. Like in my head, it's just still like, no, I'm gonna have to sing a certain way and play guitar a certain way, even though that's like impossible right now. It's still what I'm shooting for. I can't really change that. I'm not trying to. Um, I just was in a bad position, and I felt like this was a couple years ago. I felt like I only wanted to do things that made sense now. Like I had never even thought of it like that before. When I was doing things, I wasn't even like, of course I knew it was wrong to go and to spend an entire day on YouTube, but I didn't think about what kind of sense that made, what kind of message that put into the world and into like my immediate surroundings, and what kind of impact that could have if I did not do that, what kind of connection could be made. I was really obsessed with the ideas of the idea of a podcast because it was so much fun just calling with my friends, and I got such a rush from like recording those calls, and we would listen back, and especially me, actually. I don't think they cared as much. They definitely didn't. But it was just a way to bottle experience. And that made sense to me at the time, but I think in general it's like a super bad idea. And I thought of this on a tramway before I didn't get up. Um, I didn't get out of the tramway to go pay my fine, and the tramway. I made this decision to not get off. I could have paid the fine and been on time, but I made this decision because it was something important. I didn't want to be late, and I wanted to give myself headroom and a little break from all the times I was always late. I just wanted to be sure I'd be okay. You get that. As soon as the tramway starts rolling again, my mind goes to the default place, which is like, oh my god, dude, you just made a mistake. Why did you. Oh, is the sound okay? It sounds okay. Hallelujah. Sometimes I still can't explain why. It's crazy. Got this computer 2 years ago, still haven't fixed basic glitches on it. Over 2 years ago. Time flies when you're learning. I was gonna say like killing yourself. I didn't kill myself. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm growing. I'm making a documentary about how I'm getting my life together, and I'm actually fucking talking about how I'm like sinking into myself for real and accepting characteristics that I have to work with. Like I'll always be this guy, dude. I'll always be this guy. I can change what I do. I think I can change what I do immensely, but what I am inside is like it's harder to change, and that's really interesting because just the knowledge, just the realization that like I'm not gonna change is like such a profound change in and of itself. I do believe you can change inside just because of that kind of fallacy, but anyways, on the tramway, I stopped myself from panicking. I stopped myself from being overly analytic because I was like, yeah, I'm trying to feed into this scenario. It's like what I was saying about the past. I'm trying to pretend like I'm not even here, and I'm like cloning myself, and another clone has gotten off the tramway and is doing the right thing. But but he's not. It's me. I'm here, and like it will be fine. Like this is a good thing. This is fine. It's all gonna be good because then I'm gonna be on time, and I'll pay my fine another day. There's low stakes. Like why are you anxious? It's all good. Um, and the reason I was trying to do this, the reason my mind went to these places is because I was trying to capture experience. I was trying to be sure about it. I was trying to say, hey, this was for sure the wrong thing to do. Um, and I was trying to be in fucking control, man. I was trying to be this tough guy. I was trying to pretend like I knew everything, you know? It's really hard because I'm kind of tired today, slightly hypomanic, just really empty. And when those things are on my mind on days like that, I don't really get the clarity afterhand to just let it settle down, um, and let the muddy waters leave them alone and just like become clear again. But there was something about bottling experience, and I thought back about the beautiful, beautiful girl on the tramway that was not allowing myself to be just like in the grace of that moment and be grateful for what I was seeing, um, and stop there was also a way to try to be in control and to control experience and to bottle it up and to that's exactly it that's and to profit off of it, which in turn makes the initial moments so much shitter. It's just like I'm so arrogant to think that anything at all would be better by me having this girl in a music video and, you know, for the world to see and stuff, like turning her into an actual product, um, when in my life this encounter can just kind of be like this mythology thing where I'll never see her again, but I'll always remember this event because for days nobody looked sexy, or attractive. I wish I hadn't said sexy. It's not even that she honestly didn't even. That's I don't think she. I don't think. I wouldn't even use that word to describe her. Trying to control experience. Me trying to remember what clouds looked like when I was on LSD. Trying to control experience when, like, that's asking so much of the universe, bro. Like you want to have an LSD trip, and you want it to. I mean, I'm not even gonna start talking about it. Like how much good it did to me. Um, but then you still want to take like the exact flash to the grave. That's impossible. I was watching a short movie with a panel of mostly old women, the other day, and it was about strangers waiting for a train. The strangers were animals, and this horse lady was offering crisps to the other two guys for half an hour. And they were just kind of twitching around. One guy was playing tough guy, smoking a cigarette, whatever. The other guy was anxiously trying to call his boss, but was getting no reception. And they all progressively or awkwardly get together without saying a word, but by the end of the short film, they were all finally sitting on the three seats that were available in that train station. And of course, that's the point where, you know, the guys start taking crisps from the bag finally, and the train is there pretty much instantly. And the people, the women and stuff, they talked about how sweet it was and very poetic. And there was a lady in the panel that was a ex science teacher, but she was like very well spoken and obviously educated and interested in literature, and she was smart. And
I love people like that. I miss being around people like that. Um, Even if I had never been around people like that, which actually I haven't been around that many people like that, I feel like I would still miss it. Like it's just kind of soul thing. But yeah, people failed to kind of mention the tragedy, and I didn't see it as a tragedy, but the lesser aspect of the story, the sadder aspect, I guess, which was like, but they only got together after the 30 minutes, and now they're gonna get on the train, and they're probably not gonna sit at the same spot and talk to each other. Um, and if the train was never late, they would have never spoken to each other either. Um, but there's just this thing like that I was talking about yesterday. Like people are actual pussies in that sense. Like we have these norms that say, just wait. Like you're literally programmed to not go talk to a stranger after 30 seconds when your brain knows, like there's a voice at the beginning of the film that says the train is 30 minutes late, so they could have just chilled for the 30 minutes, but it kind of always happens at the end, and that's what I said to the panel. And the smart lady was like, yeah, I agree with you, but we shouldn't be sad about these moments, because like the poetry is that we still go from point A to point B, which is like not knowing each other at all, to making this little, having this little trip, this little adventure, making this little connection once we are at point B, and that's beautiful. And that is so true. And that is a super healthy approach to life, where you just allow existence to just be existence. And the miserable person that I was before, and still am going to run into for sure at some point in my life, um, is not to be discarded entirely. And the optimistic, slightly hypomanic UFO believer that I embody tonight um, is not Jesus. But if I can somehow meet myself in the middle, I think that's a huge leap in my approach to existing. And it makes me respect myself to feel like I'm on this journey of just self acceptance, but also, you know, realism. As crazy as this sounds today on June 12th, 2023, I just literally never thought that my brain would feel like this. Like I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything, and I haven't taken drugs. I mean, I guess I have taken prescription drugs. I was not like this when I was in my hypomanic episode. Um, I was not like this. I was super driven. I was kind of unbearable because I spoke like twice as fast as I'm speaking now, at least. And I interrupted people, and I spoke loud and whatever. And I wanted to do everything all the time, which is not the case. And I could go without sleeping, which is not the case. So I know that's not what's going on. When I say I'm hypomanic, I mean that as an emotion rather than an episode, which is kind of probably difficult for most people to understand, because people now understand like the difference between being depressed and having depression. But being hypomanic and having a hypomanic episode is a little different. But I'm not gonna try to explain. I I had these flashes when I was 16 of like reconnection to my past intellect, it feels like, or connection to a new intellect where I went and I had just bursts of creativity. And when I go back and I listen to some of the stuff I did, or I read, especially read the stuff I did in French, it blows my fucking mind because ever since I've stopped using French in conversation or in thought. I translated all my thoughts completely to English, to the point where 99% of my thoughts are English today, and it was like 100% last year, um, and the years before, for years and years. And I'm not actually that great at English in terms of vocabulary and images and things like that, like ways to describe things or projections of the mind or like poetry, whatever. Like I'm not as good as I am in French. And the stuff I was writing in French at 16 years old was fucking batshit crazy. Um, it ranged like there were different things I was doing. There's a philosophical thing about children that is crazy. There's things about depression that were half biological, biographical, half just like written as a poem, as prose. There were songs and whatever, and that happened during those flashes, and the rest of the time it was just sadness or the void or art also, but not as good. And then ADHD, when ADHD took over and bipolar took over, I guess, and porn, because I think most of the brain fog must have been from porn. Video games also, but a lot of it from porn. I don't know. Everything changed because those flashes stopped, and for months on end, I would be like unable to reconnect with my true self. Um, and I think I never changed. I never really got afraid of people. My nature never became to be someone that was scared of people. It's just like literally my disease is preventing me from acting it out. And the flesh is stopped entirely. It feels like the me, the child whiz kid me completely fucking died, and I never really felt intelligent again. I felt partially intelligent when I was taking the neuro psychological uh, tests this past weekend, but I would it was kind of weird. I would kind of nail a task or even like find a specific way to do a specific task that was like the best possible way. Like there was this exercise where it showed you a matrix, and you had to find you had two buttons. You pressed one if you could find a open square, a square with the top half removed, with the top side removed in the matrix. You pressed one, and if you could say that, if you wanted to say that the square wasn't there, you pressed two, and you just had to do it as fast as possible. And so I started it by just like scanning the matrix with my eyes, and was like random, right? Like trying to spot Waldo or something in a random picture. Like there's no actual meta way of doing it. You If it's a speed run, you're just gonna look kind of anywhere if you have no idea what you're doing. Um, but then after like a minute or something, I figured that I was looking. Well, I noticed that I was not very good at it. And I figured that I was looking at. Well, the only important intel was the top um, of the squares. So I started just looking at them in a line, and I started looking like this. It was like it was 5 rows. So tuck, 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 tuck. Sorry, and that was not really efficient because I had to recalibrate my eyes every time that I reached the end of a line to go back to left to the beginning. So then I just did it like that. Just reversed every second line, and that's the fastest possible way you can do that, and probably the best way you can do this test. And I started doing that like a few seconds into the thing, and it works. You should follow the lines instead of like trying to see the matrix as a whole and just hoping that you get it, because the fovea, like the center of your vision, is just I believe it's best suited for this kind of task. Um, and obviously, that doesn't make me a genius. It's just a fun observation, and it was fun for me to do, and it did kind of make me feel smart though. And then I would completely suck and fail at some other tasks, like having to do logical things with cubes and stuff. Like sometimes I would do it in seconds, and very interestingly, like whenever I would hit a problem, I would completely, crumble, and I would be literally stuck looking at the thing for 15 seconds doing nothing. And I don't know if I was even thinking anymore. So I don't often feel smart. That old part of me, I don't care what happened to it, because what needed to happen happened, and now I'm here and whatever. So it's all somehow, one way or another, is still here. But I don't really care about having flashes of intelligence. I feel much better about emotional intelligence, and the emotional intelligence, to know that I'm okay. Like I'm safe, and I'm okay as a person. I'm not the worst person there is. I'm not the best person there is. I'm somewhere on a spectrum, like everyone is. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. Um, and if I can just have that self awareness to go like, you need to adapt your life to who you are, because the ADHD stuff is never going to stop. You're never going to get a break. Or at least that's my reality as it is now. It's like UFOs. Like, if people actually start believing, or if it's a scientific process and there's proof, and people start knowing, then everything changes forever, and it's like kind of what I'm going through right now. I've been believing for that. That's the crazy thing, right? I'm on the brink of like knowing now, which is weird because we've talked about that. I knew that I was really good at picking up girls when I was having a hypomanic episode, and a hypomanic episode is near psychosis. So you got to be really careful about what you think you know. And I'm almost now. I almost know there's aliens. That's crazy. But yeah, disclosure would be a paradigm shift. I love saying that shit. I don't know who started saying it and got me into saying it, but I'm saying it. Paradigm shift, paradigm shift, paradigm shift. Oh yeah, baby. And it is a paradigm shift when you start treating yourself um the way you should, based on past experiences. Like, everything I've ever done in there like fucking failed. All the thinking I've ever done, like I've gotten some cool jokes. Like, thinking is a joke. You know, it's all like everything I can ever say. It's just like it's masturbation. It's fucking nothing. But when it becomes about emotionally integrating yourself as a person, then it's deep. And yeah, my what I was trying to say is my paradigm would shift, maybe with drugs. If I could get on Adderall or something, then maybe I wouldn't consider things the same way. I would probably not be like, oh my god, I'm handicapped, I have ADHD, I need to adapt my life. I'd be, all right, shit, I'm functional. Let's get, let's begin. But the interesting thing is, like, there were 1,000 things to be depressed about today, and I started the day a little bit depressed. And I took my med, and I just tried to have an open approach to what was gonna happen to life. I was stood up, and I was not disappointed. I was not disappointed. I just went and I did my thing. I, I, I I couldn't go pay my fine, and same thing. I took it as an opportunity to try to take a step back and be okay. I couldn't go to my psychologist appointment, and tomorrow I'm probably gonna tell her about aliens, and I don't know how this one's gonna go, but I don't care. I'm not scared. I don't regret it. The meds are definitely working, and like working in a very different way than I thought they would, because, and again, that's a mind fuck, because I know what not being on the meds is like, and I know what, taking the meds for a week is like, and also for 2 months. Like, it's basically the same thing, just keeps you afloat. But somehow, maybe taking them for over 3 months, like, completely changes what it actually feels like. And I think maybe like, maybe this is gonna really help me, which is crazy. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. But yeah. Nothing depressed me today. And then we started looking for an apartment for me, with my parents, which is just like, it was so funny, as a thing to hear. It was like, we were talking about UFOs over dinner, and, you know, they think I'm kind of very mistaken for believing in it. And that's very lucky, because they could have just like kicked me out of the house the minute I said a word about UFOs. But no, they just like disagree, and not trying to hide the fact that they think I'm a little cracked. Uh, and the me from before, like, and maybe the me from now a little bit, but the me from before would have like rebelled so hard against that. Would have been like, no, you idiots, you have to look at the evidence. And what at this point you're crazy if you don't believe in it and shit like that. And I was just like calmly talking about what I had read, and things, and it was okay. And then somebody said, let's go look at the apartments, at Tanguy's apartments. And the phrase like Tanguy's apartments sounded so crazy in my head. Um, and then I remembered, like, I'm in the kind of family where I could probably own a few apartments. And just like the sheer thought of the privilege made me like dizzy. Um, is there such a thing as saying dizzy like didsy? Because my music teacher definitely said Dizzy Gillespie. I don't know why. Or somebody did. I hope you know which teacher I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Olivier, not Mathieu. Okay. Um, and so then we look for an apartment, and my dad says, "I envy you, man. You're gonna live the student life in this town." And that kind of felt really bad. Like I felt really bad about that. That's actually the one thing that depressed me today, was my dad saying that to me, because I know my life's hard. Um, well, actually, I don't really know that, but I know that I know how much I suffer, and I know that I'm not jealous of myself at all, and you know, if you envy the lifestyle or whatever that I'm probably not even gonna have, but like that I could have if I was a different person, or that people around me are going to have in this town. Um, well, if you think you envy me, then you gotta take like all the other shit that's with me, and you know, a black hole of pain as well. And I don't know, that's just so obvious to me when I think about the future. I just don't see a lot of brightness. I've been talking for 15 minutes about how cool everything is, but it's not, you know. It's just like I'm making major internal breakthroughs. The outside is still fucked, some beyond repair, including my biological knees. I'm probably gonna have to get those removed or worked on at some point, and that's something I. It's not even that I think about it a lot. These days, I don't think about it that much, and it's getting worse, which is incredible if you know anything about me. Um, but it's just that I don't have to think about it for it to affect me. Like it's really impairing my life, and so I'm trying to work. I'm trying to get muscle, but I'm just trying to fucking fuck. I'm trying to fucking fuck, yeah, for sure. No, I have to cancel a PT thing tomorrow. Jesus, am I gonna forget? 'Cause I scheduled two things at the same time. That was one of the questions on the ADHD test. Do you frequently schedule two things at the same time? And I wondered if I did, and then I remembered like last year I scheduled two festivals at the same time, and then I also forgot to get reimbursed for the tickets to the one I didn't attend. Good shit. What was I talking about? Grace? Jesus. What the fuck? Yeah, my life's a little fucked, and I just can't. It just doesn't even. The notion of me doesn't even make any sense if you don't keep that in mind. Um, and I don't give a fuck about the student lifestyle I'm gonna have, or even the studies I'm gonna have next year and stuff. And I don't think that's a mistake. I don't think that's a mistake because I'm so focused on my health. And I think that's valid. And so, like, just seeing somebody else who's my dad, just saying, "Oh, I'm jealous of you," which basically means like you're gonna have a good time. I'm just like, when I have ever have had a good time, you know? When have I ever had a good time? Like, I'm not gonna have a good time. I'm gonna have a me time. There's gonna be good and there's gonna be bad. But like, no one should be jealous of me. Um, so yeah, that's again just a need to be acknowledged, and something that I'll work on. Um, to be acknowledged fully, I guess, wholly, the good and the bad, and the bipolar. I don't really know how to address my audience. I guess guys is just something I've been doing. It's default, it's safe, it's boring. I had some very novel ideas a few years back. Not gonna do them. I think Grace is just kind of. I literally thought about this like 30 seconds before starting the video, but the in Jeff Buckley's Grace, um, it's always kind of inspired me like what the fuck that really is about. It's not, you know, not even thinking about the lyrics of the song Grace or anything off the album or anything, but just literally just the name. what it invokes is like a muse, right? And so what's the point of talking in the specific setting? It's just, I guess, like trying to work something out in my own life, but also communicating it to other people, which is kind of a noble process. And addressing the process and the audience as grace, sort of, kind of is also a mark of respect or something. I think it's kind of a cool way to address someone, a group of people. Grace, your grace now. This will last probably a day or two, maybe 50 years. I'm starting to sound like Jordan Peterson. I'm out. And if you're thinking like, oh my god, but he's not actually showing how he turned his life around, like it's still how I'm turning my life around, because having breakthroughs inside and letting those things out like that is huge. It's huge for me. It would be huge for anyone. And the third thing was the depression. It was the acid, the hypomania, and the depression. The depression made me realize that nothing matters in a bad way, and hypomania, nothing matters in a good way. And acid, play the fucking game. And I guess there's a fourth thing happening right now, which is, oh my god, aliens are real and no one cares. Alright, so it's the next day. My eyes are burning so much. I'm home in this mess, but my home is burning. I'm alive. And it's the bottomless pit of pain whenever I don't sleep enough, which is all the time because everything is shifted. The results came in today of my ADHD tests, and I have ADD. I have attention deficit disorder without hyperactivity. I can do some sessions with the neuropsychologist, I think, to try to get better, something of that effect. And I can take meds. I can do a cognitive remediation program, basically. Today I heard the song Starlight by Muse twice on the radio, which is crazy. I entered a store to buy water and the song was playing, and then I went to physical therapy and the song was playing, like right as I was entering both these buildings. It is like pretty wild stuff. Statistically, it's really rare that shit like that happens. I've told the story before of me asking a random person on the train for a tissue, kilometers away from the center of the city, and the train was going to the city, but could have been picking people up from anywhere. And then I was going to my psychiatrist appointment, and the person scheduled right after me was the person that I had borrowed a tissue from. It's just all stuff like the universe trying to show me stuff, and I was just crying because I saw this video about this girl just saying, like, you can sit around and do nothing and blame other people for what they did or didn't do, or blame yourself for things you haven't said. But life waits for nobody than just listening to songs in the same key than the background music she used. And man, it's all a lot of stuff, It's all a lot of stuff to try to figure out what kind of impact we want to have. And today was way harder than the previous days when I felt like the pieces of the puzzle were coming together, because the question of identity is difficult for me. And it's good to have that kind of realistic aspect to it. why is that there? Where I know that identity, I won't get to a place where I'll be saved by my identity. Like I won't like change in a way that's gonna make me feel safe forever. It's I'm gonna change, I'm gonna walk 2 steps and then I'm gonna walk back 1 step and things like that depending on my emotions. And that's kind of what's happening right now. I've walked 2 steps back and now today I've taken a step no, I've walked 2 steps forward and today I've taken a step back. I might go to pink pop, I might not. I don't really know.
Pas fermé ici. Tiens, pousse avec le pied, s'il te plaît.
Bien sûr. J'ai pas de pied.
Mais si, il a un pied. Tu vois, il a un pied. Hop, il a un pied, voilà.
Il y en a, mais il est pas.
J'utilise son pied alors. Du coup, tu cherches des photos? Ouais.
Oh yes.
Wesh.
Yes. Merci.
Merci, monsieur.
Ok, c'est bon.
Mais quoi? Pourquoi
Je sais pas si c'est passé, mais.
C'est-à-dire que là, en fait, ça considère comme si.
Oh ah no. Yo, what's up? Hello, it's been 2 weeks. It's high time. High time I did this. I went to the festival and it was fucking amazing. It was really, really good. And, well, hold on. Get down there. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I don't remember if I told you this, but I booked everything last second, so I had to spend a lot more money than I would have needed to if I didn't do that, which is frustrating, but is something that is part of me and I have to deal with until I change somehow. And I've not watched any of the stuff I've recorded, so I don't know if I talked about this, but like right before going to the festival and during the festival and after the festival, I was in a period of time where I was very, Jesus, my voice, very accepting of who I am and very accepting of everything that's happened to me. And usually I'm super caught up in the past in a bad way, regretting things, or even if I found my way around those things and eventually settled on it's okay, it happened, it's that way, I still got some heavy anxiety from it up until up until the point that I'm able to figure it out and let it go. Like every few weeks specific events would come back and haunt me and I would have to stare them around in my head and then let them go. And it would be like that all the time, but with time compounding and more bad things happening, it just kept on building and building, and it was more and more painful. And it seemed like really that cycle was maybe not quite ending, but it destroyed itself through the fact that I accepted that this was me. Like I accepted that I was like that and it was my nature, and I stopped trying to fight so fucking hard.
it was very deep, and I kind of wish that I had recorded something about it maybe sooner, because now I don't feel that I'm at the heart of it. But it's also, following the philosophy of how I felt then, it's also part of that idea to just not wish that I had recorded something about it. It's just the whole point is to let things go, not to give up, but just to accept that life is a certain way, or is a certain way right now, is the thing. It's like, I still want to do a bunch of stuff. I still want to be a musician or whatever, and you know. But right now in my daily life, that's not happening. That's not who I am. I'm someone who, a couple weeks ago in my daily life, it was not about making music. It was about, like, paying for stuff so I could go and see music, and buying my food, and taking care of my body, and taking my meds, and doing this and that and stuff, and just fully kind of sinking into the fact that I was this allowed me to cut off the toxic bits of the past that would come back and bite me in the ass. And it was so liberating, and it felt so good. So when I left for the festival, there was this big sense of adventure that I feel every time I leave home to go somewhere. It's like all my problems completely fade away for just a few hours, for just the first few hours. And it's been a long time since I've seen the sky at night and stuff, because now I sleep more reasonably. And just the first day I traveled at night, and being outside the train station waiting for the bus and shit, looking at the clouds was a beautiful trip already. Then I get on the bus and I try to sleep, and that's when it gets a little rough, because I need to get good sleep, because otherwise my mood is fucked, with bipolar. And so I start to fall asleep, okay? And the overthinking starts when I realize, like, the 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 um, the spot on the bus I've picked can't allow me to lay down my legs perfectly. I mean, I need to speed through this because I can't give you that much detail about 2 weeks. Some guy gets on, prevents me from sleeping because he's like, his knee is touching my knee. And at the beginning, it's super annoying. And then through sheer willpower, I'm like, bro, I need to sleep. Like, I'm not going to talk to this guy. I'm just going to pretend that I'm touching like some plastic or something. And that worked. It was still a bit annoying, but it worked. But then some more of his leg touched some more of my leg, and I got the creeps. Like this, like there's a big spider on your leg or something. Like, you can't help it. It's just, you have to do something. You have to there's a knee-jerk reaction where you have to, you can't stay in the creeps. You can't freeze up. Like, not me. Like, I can't fucking, and yeah, then I had to move and whatever. So, like, getting out of the almost sleeping state. But eventually I slept like an hour, and then a little more on another bus. And that was fine. I thought I'll sleep at the festival. I get to the festival, it's 10 a.m. I think. I get in my tent, and holy shit, it's 40 degrees in the tent because of the sun. So within a few minutes, my knees were sweating. I had never sweat from my knees. I saw like sweat pooling on my pants where my knees are. And obviously my forehead and everything, like, just like water was trickling down. Never sweated that hard in my life. So I'm like, all right, can't sleep. And I go to the festival, and this is the point where I need my thingy. Damn, son, I should definitely have done this sooner. But this is exactly how I function. Like, when I think about the past 2 weeks, there were a lot of spots for me to do this, but there just weren't, because my ADHD was filling up the spots. Did I talk about that? Okay, let me backtrack. Yeah, so I left you guys with, I might go to Pink Pop, I might not, I don't really know. And I bought the tickets like 30 minutes later. That's so funny. And I was not doing so good that last day. I was crying actually. And it's interesting to see, like, this is not the first time, I guess, that during that kind of more serene time in my life, I've had downs, obviously. But, and that is inspiring. So, let me explain what happened at the festival. The first few bands were pretty good. I slept during the set of a band called the Haunted Youth. I thought they were really good. I laid down on the grass in the shade, watching them on screens, just looking at the clouds, and I saw the clouds moving in a way that I'm sure they weren't. I was hallucinating because of lack of sleep. And it looked a lot like clouds look on LSD. And that was awesome, but also a little bit like, oh shit, if I don't sleep, do I get like flashbacks of the trip? Because I don't want that. It is what it is. It was just a few minutes of sleeping, I guess, and then I came to, and I went and checked out the Who, and that was fucking awesome. And then the War on Drugs played, and that's a band that means a lot to me. One of my favorite scenes ever in media is the scene where Diane drives from rehab to her place after dropping off BoJack, and the song plays. And the War on Drugs is a really good band. Like, some really sick guitar solos were played on Gretches and stuff. I was happy to check that out, but I couldn't be as attentive because I was getting food. By the way, the food at Pink Pop is very interesting. Like, a lot of it feels way too sugary, and kind of disgusting. Like, I don't understand how something that looks so good can be so weird. Like, a lot of the different shops selling food and a lot of the different kinds of food, like, tasted super similar. Like, if you got I don't care, but I sat down to check out the War on Drugs, and these delayed hats start playing, and I'm so tired I can't be sure what it is, but I just know it's under the pressure, and it starts, and I'm like, oh, and I just, yeah, I just kind of look around, and I feel super alone in this moment, because I went to Pink Pop without knowing if I could charge my phone at all, because there were no lockers you could buy on the website with chargers anymore. So I didn't use it at all. I couldn't communicate with people around me. I just told my parents when I got there, hey, I'm there, I'm safe, and that was it. And I, yeah, I prepared so fast that I forgot to bring underwear, like any form of underwear except for those I was wearing. And and I had to walk very slowly because my knee is now so fucked up that I really have to walk slow, otherwise it's just not worth it. It's like, if I walk twice as fast, it hurts 5 times more. So I walk like, the slowest you've ever seen a 20 something year old walk. And I'm ashamed of all these things, I guess. When I got there, I had my big hat, like tourist kind of clothes, and walking slow, a single shirt for the 3 days, so it was getting dirty pretty quick. And I didn't smell or anything, at least at first, but I knew that I had the same underwear as the day before. Eventually, I bought socks because my feet were starting to smell too bad, but yeah, for my boxers, I just winged it. Um, there's things you can do. You can fucking turn them around and stuff. But it's like, that's the first time I go anywhere and I forget to bring underwear. That's a fucking crazy thing to forget, And it's I was running out of time, I guess. I didn't have a lot of time to pack my stuff. I really didn't. But I mean, that's pretty fucking crazy. It's pretty fucking crazy that I would forget something like that. I guess that day was a bit busy when I left. This is ADHD, man. This is the problem. Like, I'm trying to focus on something I'm saying, and there's 100 different objects in front of me, and like, I've never felt it like that. But now that I know that I have it, it was a diffuse feeling before, but now I can actually put names on it, put words on it, and know what is fucking with me. When a place is not clean, I can't focus. But I also can't focus on cleaning the place, obviously. And so, yeah, it gets a bit tricky. So I felt very alone because I was alone, because I was ashamed to go up to people because I felt like dirty and whatever, and also was interested in being alone because I was like, okay, I don't have a phone. So if I don't talk to people, I can be alone with myself and the music that's playing around me and just see how that plays out. And I didn't want to be a burden to people because genuinely, even if you remove the shame, like, I feel like it is pretty annoying if you insert yourself in a group of other people and then you're like, oh guys, by the way, can we walk like 3 times as slow? Or I could have approached people that were alone, but nobody, like, not a lot of people go to festivals alone, I feel like. I mean, of course, there's some. I spoke to a couple. But yeah, there were people at times, like people who spoke French or English, that I felt drawn to. Um, I wanted to approach them, but I didn't. Yeah. It was emotional to see under the pressure and just like it was really good. But I also wanted to be seen. I also wished that I could share that with somebody instead of waiting, bottling it in, and you know. But I talked about that with my therapist, and she was like, What do you mean share that with somebody? Like, would you interrupt the song in the moment to say, hey, this is what this means to me? And no, I would have liked to explain it beforehand and then getting to hear it at the festival together, like a girlfriend or something, or a really close friend, or you know, um, because in the moment, what happened when I was alone was like, oh man, this. I remember the year this happened and the circumstances and me watching that show and just the way I felt and the way the images made me feel and then looking up the song and what it was and then looking up Pink Pop and seeing the war on drugs was there and being happy about that and just oui, of course.
On partira à 13h ou à 14h?
I was all alone, remembering all of this, knowing the meaning of this, and I don't remember, but maybe I cried or something, or I just felt emotional was the thing, and it was a little bit the same with Ellie Goulding, who was playing earlier, who I just knew that I liked her, but I didn't know. I knew like a couple of songs, I thought I knew a couple of songs, but I knew a lot more than a couple of songs, and that was the emotional bit, just like her playing all these songs that I had heard as a kid and being like seeing that she was, 8 to 15 years older than when these songs came out, and so was I, and so was the entire audience, and seeing the confetti at the end and the kind of festive vibe and just the shared experience of human life that all of it was, um, and we gotta let it burn. And I'm fucking alone in it, and that was very strange. Um, But I loved it so much. That's the thing. It's like I love that shit so much, and I just wish that I had people alongside me that loved it so much. But I did. I was in a crowd of 100,000 people. I just like didn't make meaningful connections with a lot of them. But I got home later and did. But yeah. It's the not even knowing the song, right? Not even knowing that you know the song and just like you haven't heard it in 12 years and it rockets you back in time, and you're seeing the person that actually fucking sang it in the studio, and she's like in front of you. Even if she's a bit far away, she's right there, and it's such a surreal experience. So it was a really good day. And then I don't know what the hell I did after the war on drugs. I possibly slept because none of these bands sound any familiar to me at all. I just have absolutely no idea what I possibly could have done. I laid on the ground. I tried to sleep, I think. Laid on the ground next to this dude, and it was that was a moment of connection because we laid like on the ground in the same exact disposition. We didn't exchange a word or a look, but just like trying to get a little bit closer together so that people wouldn't walk between us. Because that's the thing when you're on the ground, people walk all around you, and you gotta really trust that they won't crush your skull because they can be high and inebriated. And I think anybody who gets on the ground is a hero. So I think of myself as a hero in that regard, I guess. And you want to minimize the angles, no, from which they can. What? You want to minimize the angles from which people can walk around you. And then Pink played, and she fucking killed it. I was able to go like pretty near the stage, not really that near, but considering like I started my motion towards the stage very late, I was at a really good spot. She literally played all the hits, like every hit, plus her two new singles, and maybe a couple of songs that I didn't know. She played a cover of Make You Feel My Love, and she played an emotional song from somebody from her touring family that died, and the entire audience took their phones and started like waving them around with the lights, and I'm probably cried at that. Shit, I want to know what I cried for, but I don't remember. I know there's one time I cried during this festival, but the other times I can't be too sure. But yeah, I probably cried at that, and she was swinging on top of people with cables and stuff for so what? So it was a really great show. And it was a party, it had that vibe, that energy of really like respecting the audience a lot, and she was not taking herself seriously at all, even though they fucking killed it though. Like they played a medley with one of her songs, with Heartbreaker, and it was extremely good. Yeah, just like fire. So yeah. And that was also a thing, like Just Like Fire, totally forgotten that was a Pink song. Absolutely did not, like when the night I got my tickets, I decided to check out the bands, even the bands I knew, like Pink and Robbie Williams and stuff. I was like, okay, what did this sing again? Because I'm not a Pink fan. I don't know her albums and stuff. But I like everything I've heard, like pretty much. So Just Like Fire was not on that list, and I was like, what? And then Cover Me in Sunshine was one of the things that I discovered when I was checking it out before, and I was like, what? That's her. That's one of the songs from a couple of years ago that I really loved. And it's a blatant ripoff of Paradise, but it's a good song. And she made Willow Sage Heart go up on stage and shit like that. So they played 24 songs. Wow. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Not everybody did that. I'll tell you right now, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they did not play 24 songs. 17 songs? Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Alright, so yeah, that was the first day. It was a really good day. Let me speed through this. The Big Moon was a fucking good show, man. It was a fucking good show, and they looked good, and they played good, and the songs were good, and I was able to get there really close, and that was nice. Oh yeah, I started checking out the Driver Era, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like the beginning of their set was quite impressive pop, very well packaged, but a lot of energy and some talent as well. And then I went to see Disturbed, but it wasn't Disturbed. It was Ramcot. Yeah, Ramcot, and Ramcot is one of the tightest bands I've ever seen in my fucking life. Um, it took me a while to figure out it was not Disturbed. I was like, for 5 minutes, I was like, is it, is it possible that they de-aged and now it's three guys? Because the voice of one of the guys in the cleans was like somewhat similar. Um, but yeah, it was not. And then, Hollywood Vampires, kind of funny. Saw them from big distance. And then I wanted to see the Black Keys, I guess, but I also was set down where Tavlo was going to play. And I also wanted to see Tavlo, and Tavlo showed our boobs. So it's all good. And then the script played, and they killed it. And Hall of Fame has always meant so much to me, like musically. For years, it just pumps me the fuck up when I hear this song from being a kid, like from when it came out or something. And it's never lost. Like sometimes songs are a little bit of pop cringe, and you like them when you're a kid and then you outgrow them. And this song I can recognize has some of that possibly pop cringe element. And I've grown as a musician and listener of music and person and all that, but I still feel the song the same exact way, maybe even stronger somehow. And that's really rare, and I loved it so much that they played that, and I walked up there like down kind of down the stage to set up for the Queens of the Stone Age show. Like as they played that song, it was so good, and Queens of the Stone Age killed it. Probably best show of the festival. I don't know what it was about it, but just like I think it's just literally the songs, like Song for the Dead. It doesn't matter the performance or the band or how old you are or whatever. If you play a song like that, if you have a song like that, you're doing the best show, you know? It was so fucking good, man. I want to see him again. That was the only band in the whole festival that made me want to go, oh, I want to see them again. Maybe the Big Moon as well, but not, I'm not going to travel to see the Big Moon or whatever. Robbie Williams was also good. Then he was funny also, didn't take himself seriously at all. I have no idea when I got there on the last day because I don't remember any of the first bands there. Probably chilled at stage 4 for a bit. Tash Sultana was sick, and I was kind of up close. But I mean, I knew she'd be sick. I left before Jungle to set up for Tom Odell. That makes no sense. They were at the same stage, but to take a break, I guess. It was kind of loud. Like a lot of the times when I was up close, the kick was just too loud, which is weird. I don't know, but it is what it is. And then I had to make a decision. I know I slept. Maybe I slept the last day also. The first day I was fucked up. I slept like 2-3 hours, something like that. Tried to sleep in the tent again, too hot, knees sweating, you remember. But I didn't feel it mood-wise, because you feel it, you kind of feel it the day after, if you notice. Like, if you sleep bad, the day after, you're going to be okay. But it's the day after that will fuck you up. So day 2, now I'm really fucked up. even though I've slept better, like I've slept maybe 6-7 hours, I feel worse because there's the impact of the day before. And I thought, oh no, this is gonna be a real rough one, right? But I accepted, I let go. I was like, I'm home in this, and I slept a bit. So last day, Tom Odell, I cried during Heal, but kind of in a good way. I remember some painful stuff, but it's, it's catharsis. And then I'm like, shit, I've heard great things about Warpaint. I've heard about Warpaint for like 7 years. And there was relationships with John Frusciante, Josh Klinghoffer. There's guitars being exchanged. There's kind of this cool status, but I've never heard their songs much. So I've just checked out their stuff the day of at the festival on my phone speaker, and I was like, it's kind of good, but if I go see Warpaint, I'm gonna see the Red Hot Chili Peppers from super fucking far away. And that day or the day before, I think when I told my therapist, I knew what day was, and now I don't anymore. It's kind of scary how those memories go away, and that's why I wish I had done it. But it's good that I'm doing it now, because in a year or two, if I hadn't done this, I would never remember anything. And now at least it's like thinicized a bit, and it still takes hours, so it's good. I think it must have been that day, the last day when I was gonna see the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I realized, holy shit, you have to get there so fucking early to be close to the stage. And people are going to be waiting like 4 hours before, or 5, to be at the front. And then I remember that in 2022, I could have paid like 50 more bucks and been VIP to go see them in Firenze, and instead I was a little bit further, and I was like, oh my god, at Pink Pop there's no VIP ticket, so you can't see them from close, and on their current tour the VIP tickets are just fucking insane and whatever. So I was like, oh my god, have I missed the only shot I had in life to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers up close in a huge festival? Like, I don't know why I was thinking like that, but it was just, again, the fucked up sleep. Had slept maybe 6-7 hours again that night. No, less. Less, because that night I had water poisoning. Because I had brushed my teeth with bad water and I drank some of the water. And I almost shat myself exiting the Robbie Williams concert. So I missed Angels, which I thought he wouldn't play. Because I heard an interview saying, like, oh yeah, I can't do it because I cry like a bitch. But so yeah, I left right before Angels, but I heard it from walking and stuff, and people sang it with me. It was fine. Well, sang it, I guess, not with me. That was terrible because I had to walk fast, so I fucked up my knees. Because I had to shit. I had to go to the doctor. I had to go to the camping doctor because I was feeling so bad. And but by the time I arrived, it was too much. I had no energy, so I had to sit on the floor. My belly was hurting so bad. So within 30 seconds of me sitting on the floor and holding my head like this, security guy comes up and he's like, hey, you okay? And he brings me there, and they take care of me. They gave me meds and soup and stuff, and gave me toilet paper, and were super nice. But so I didn't get that much sleep that night. So yeah, my brain was going, oh, you're Red Hot Chili Peppers, you're gonna miss your you have missed the opportunity to see them close up. And then I just, instead of just wallowing in that pain like I would have done in the past, I went like, yeah, fuck you. I've missed what the fuck you're talking about. You're so focused on that useless stuff. I'm at a festival. I'm out here like seeing the greatest bands on earth in my world, and you're talking about this shit. Like, what do you mean have missed my chance? Like, watch me, just watch me. And I went up close and I saw them up close. I waited like I waited 3.5 hours standing, something like that.
to see them up close, and I saw the One Republic concert up close, and it was actually really good. And I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers up close, and they started late, and they stopped early, uh, and I was like, oh shit. They were supposed to play for 2 hours. They did not play for 2 hours. They did not play for 2 hours. So that was a bit. It was actually somewhat disappointing. Yeah, they played for an hour 30, including encores. Oh no, yeah, they were scheduled. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought they were supposed to start at 10. No, they were supposed to start at 10:10. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. But they still played 20 minutes less, and it was not their best gig. The Californication intro was sick. Soul to Squeeze was good. Like, a lot of stuff was good, but the set list was a little bit strange. Like, I don't know why, but I don't know. I didn't feel it that much, that show. But it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers, so it was a fucking great show, and I was so glad to be up close. It was like maybe sixth row or something, I don't know. Really, really quite close. In a crowd of 100,000 people. Cool. But then, yeah, that was kind of the idea of the whole festival, was like I was exhausted and my knees were hurting, and I had to spend a lot of money and the heat and whatever, and like there was a lot of from the start I was like, oh, maybe you pushed it too far. And the second day especially, I was like, it was just like a LSD trip. It was like when I took LSD after being extremely tired, just exhausted, and my brain told me, oh dude, why don't you take care of yourself? You were supposed to chill. And feeling the beginning of the bad trip, that was the same thing at the festival. And then I was like, okay, what's my job here? And that was the thing. The first day, it was like I was exhausted and shit, and I was like, what's my job? Well, my job is to sit down and see some concerts. That's my job for 3 days. Wow. Like, that's fucking amazing, and I felt so good about that. I was able to just like chill, you know. My knees hurt, so whenever I got the chance, when the show was not too crowded, when I didn't care that much, I was able to sit down and watch shows, and it was so good. And when I left the third day after the Red Hot Chili Peppers show, even though it was not the best Red Hot Chili Peppers show I've seen, I just felt like, holy shit, that's the best thing I've done in a long time. I'm so glad that I took these tickets, and my knees didn't hurt that bad because I was taking anti-inflammatories the whole time. And there's this idea that like I'm gonna use my knees anyway. I'm gonna use my knees, and I think the same thing when I go and visit friends and stuff, or walk a little bit faster than I should with friends of mine. I'm like, bro, I'm walking anyway. I'm gonna walk for my studies. I'm walking to get to my job. I'm walking and fucking up my knees a little so that my other joints are okay. Like, you're always gonna walk. I have to walk if I want to go to the toilet right now. Like, you're always gonna walk, so you might as well walk a little bit as too, to see the best shows of your life. And you're young and whatever, and you'll get surgery if you need to, and your knee is kind of fucked up anyway. And that was a very comforting thing. And then I got like churros, and I just enjoyed myself, and then I slept for like 3 hours or something, and I ran to get the buses because there were perturbations. So I got every disturbances and perturbations is just literally a French word. Disturbances in the buses, I got every single bus like 30 seconds on time, and it was exhausting. I don't want to be like this. That's the problem. It's like I always get away with it with ADHD. Like, I can be in another other country and get all my buses, but I'm gonna run and hurt myself and stress myself and the buses are gonna leave like a few minutes after I get to them, and that's super annoying. I want to have more buffer time and all that, but we'll get there. And so I sleep in the buses a bit. I think I don't remember it. And then I'm like back home. Yeah, it's fucking me up just to think about my ride home. The last steps, I remember vaguely some Spanish being spoken, and me getting next to a guy that was kind of randomly dressed, and I felt good because I was also very randomly dressed at that point, and probably slightly stinky. And yeah, at that point I was home. I was trying to rest, and from all this, I guess, good stuff happening, but also exhaustion, I was feeling a bit of hypomania and stuff, and just trying to go about my life, go about my work. And then I saw a really good friend of mine for 4 days, which was good, but also a little bit overwhelming because we both have ADHD, and we speak a lot for long amounts of time about things. So my voice took a little bit of a hit. So did my sleep, and even before she got there, I was like back into this fucking thing, back into this computer that still right now as I speak like fogs up my brain, and it's very frustrating. And I took her to Gabbianello. We checked out some sites from my childhood, and also some fossils, and it was amazing. It was so good. It was really, really, really good times that I would trade for nothing. And like sometimes you do not get to sleep as much as you would want to, or take as many breaks as you would want to, and that's just the way life goes. But what I'm thinking is, like, outside of those times, outside of the festivals, outside of the seeing friends that live far away, or seeing friends that live not that far away but that you know you don't see every day, outside of that, in your routine life, damn man, you should sleep. Like, that was the first thought I had when I left for the trip 2 weeks ago, and I'm still obviously not there. But the first thought I had when the guy's knee was touching my knee was like, I need to be a master at sleep. I need to be so good, bro. There's no reason why I wouldn't sleep well. Like, there's no reason. Nothing can justify it when it's a normal day, because it's so good and it's so bad to not sleep. Yeah. It was kind of exhausting. Like, the whole thing was exhausting. I've had 2 exhausting weeks, and I'm now on holiday. I've finished with work yesterday, which is awesome, but I don't feel that different because it's the same that I've been doing for my whole life. It feels like whenever I get home from school or work or whatever, I just fuck around online. And I can't anymore. Sobriety has to be my number one rule, but I just said there was another rule, which is sleep. It's like you have many things to focus on. There's sobriety, there's sleep, there's just exercise, keeping yourself sharp, journaling. Like, and it's so much, and you have to do it all at once. It's very overwhelming, but I can do it. But it's just gonna take an amount of energy and focus that is unlike anything I've ever been able to provide, because now I know that, like, until I'm medicated, which fuck No, bro, I'm supposed to be calling places right now to get appointments for. Oh my god. And this is the I literally forget. I have to set up an x-ray for my hands. I have to see if I can move my knee scanner to go on holiday sooner. I have to see if the cardiologist can send the results back to the psychiatrist earlier so I can go on Ritalin. I haven't done any of that. And that's why it's important to do self-actualization, because like instead of doing these things, sometimes I'm like slipping into porn in a super normal way, like very familiar. Just then the idea is there, and I know that I shouldn't do it, but I'm just typing it up, and it's just happening like I'm watching myself do it, and it's so bad. It happened last night, and I don't want to be like that, Jesus. Because it makes you forget everything. The brain fog is so real. It's so real. I've been up for a couple hours. I only now remember that, oh shit, I exist. I have to do a bunch of things. And I mean, this is better than that. You know, recording is better than porn. It's better than YouTube. It's better than Reddit. And it takes a lot of energy too out of me to call people, even though I'm like sort of okay with myself, and it doesn't give me anxiety or anything, but it just takes something out of you. So I want to change, but there was some really good stuff that happened again after my friend left. We went with Gabby and Ello to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that was maybe the best show of theirs that I've seen. The most electric was the first one because it was in Italy, third show of the new tour with John. Everybody was chanting John, John, and literally the air was electric. The air was red. Everything was, fucked up in a great way. And that time, Monday in Mannheim, the sound was interestingly waving all around with the wind, and we were at the fence, so people that had paid 3 times what we had paid were 3 meters closer than us, which I thought was really cool. And John played these solos that reached down deep into my soul, like with the melodies and stuff. It's about how you are ready to welcome it, and it's just like life, like right now I feel like my normal self, sort of neurotic a little bit, and I feel no depression, I feel no anxiety much, nothing like that, but I feel the weight of what I have to do weighing on me like 2019 or something, and I don't like that. But a few days ago, and for a while now, I've been feeling so much better. And because I think because I felt okay, because I felt open, because I was with my best friends and stuff, I just opened my soul to what John was playing. And it must have been a little bit of a better show too than Pink Pop. It was just like when he was doing the melodic solo stuff, I was just like, taking it all in, like in awe completely, and then being one with things in a super psychedelic open experience. Absolutely wonderful. But that day I fucked up. That day I missed my train because I was buying food, and I got ADHD paralysis or something. When they were bagging it, I still had time to get my train, but I didn't move because I didn't know. Like I had never been faced with something like that. Like we were just fucking leaving while they bagged the food, And I had to call my mom, and she got pissed. And then I was, was late a little bit for the cardiologist. Uh, and and I went to the psychiatrist, and it was not that day that I had scheduled something with her, and shit. Also have to call my physical therapist, and also have to email my other therapist. Jesus Christ. Something what? Yeah, I mean, I kind of fumbled a lot that day, and then also we missed the Mars Volta and a lot of Iggy Pop as openers, and I could have been pissed about that, but wasn't. And I was able to let go. Then I can't really tell you what I did, which is interesting. Don't think I went to work a single time this week. I slept. Tuesday morning I had dentist. So I slept, and but I also slept. I just did fucking nothing, but yeah, I'm doing a lot better in my head. Now it's gonna be about getting better in what I actually do in the world, and it's about getting ADHD meds, because ADHD is like honestly a goated disease. Like, it's so good. Like, bipolar is good. Don't get me wrong. But it's obvious, after a few years, and at least to the person that's experiencing it, like, it's so fucking obvious. I didn't know it was bipolar, but there was no doubt in my mind after a few months, honestly, that I had depression. But when you have ADHD, it can go undercover for years, and it can ruin your life just the same, honestly. Um, it affects like every single area of everything. So you're just imagine not being like being the most messy person and having no idea. Like, when I look at my room, I don't see it. I don't see the mess. My subconscious suffers from it, but my conscious does not notice. And so it's so fucking bad. Gonna need meds for that, for sure. And cognitive training, and I should definitely do CBT. All of that costs an ungodly amount of money. What else? Sobriety, sleep, cleanliness, exercise, creativity. I mean, it's just never-ending list. It's just never-ending list. And it starts with baby steps that we're gonna take right now by calling a couple people.